Just another day, existing in days. As I walked alone down the street with no name, my sorrows trailed behind me like the shadows that slip by in the pursuing imitation of my outline sketch. My mind was reeling, seething, breathing, filled full with the haunting pulps cradled in the clutch of my remorse. Just a ship at sea floating lost, bobbing in the buoyancy of the winter's ensuing frost. The navigation of my soul succumbing to the numbing winds of my tide's bitter cold. And then I looked up, and there on the wall of brick and stone I was no longer alone, for that is when she captured me. The first time I saw her, the first time she spoke to me, and sparked interest that poked at me. I wondered, how could she know me? The geisha with the sad dark eyes. I stood there alone in my public solace, a solitude of rapture that was evolving in the public square. It was as if no one real was there, the passengers of the passerby, drifting down the waves of the city streets, just a few feet away. But here, in this alleyway, she tapped me on the shoulder of my consciousness and claimed me from the start as I became a part of her, an intricate section, now on the selection in this mural of Eastern art. Perhaps she could help me recall the moment it shattered and help me repair its fracture and assist in locating all the pieces that scattered the day she broke my heart. The last time anything that mattered was spoken aloud, there was no sound, there was no crowd, as she reached for me and pulled me close, the geisha with the sad dark eyes. I took her hand and followed on this journey of ancient times, without the faintest sign of apprehension, for she saw me as who I was, and what I am, and she wrapped me in her embrace, never needing to see my face, for I was her dying son. And just like that, in the brilliance of the breaking dawn, she hooked me, she shook me, she took me to the land of the rising sun. I saw the folly of her ancestors, and the way in which her kind was treated, seen so often deleted and the history repeated by the mouths of man. Her head bowed in humble submission as her spirit sought to be free and climbed the 5 great mountains and become the bird of light that danced upon the crest, that winged gift so precious that was destined to take its eternal flight, to be her own identity scripted upon her breast by the lineage of her own birthright. She touched me as if she had read every word I ever attempted to write, turned every page in the book of my being, as I saw myself seeing through her vision, threading my incisions, suturing my wounds. How could she have known I was so ready to break? The geisha with the sad dark eyes. And so I stayed there with her until she had shown me all I needed to see. For it was then that our eyes truly met, and I finally realized exactly what she had done. By revealing to me the multiple levels of her evaporating chi, she was not sharing with me the tally of her existence, but rather allowing me to gather the infinite portions of me. My good and my grief no longer eclipsed, but exposed in a streaming hiss released from the kettle, kissed by the lips of a child's forgotten wish. That let me walk the path of recovered whim, forgiveness for my sins, answered prayers whispered within, not the mark of my own ending, but the origin of where I was to begin. I could not find the words to thank her for bringing me back from the edge of the abyss. So together now we share each other's pain, never sharing each other's name. But I know now, I must never relinquish my grip on the ropes of hope, and that not to try is not to love and not to live, but only die. So I sat down on the ground, hung my head and began to cry, sharing the tears no one will ever see or hear, just me and her and I, the geisha with the sad dark eyes.